Hey there, gentlemen. Quick question for you. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like you're not getting the respect you deserve? Well, it's possible that certain behaviors are sending the wrong message about your status and confidence. We'll explore 7 common behaviors that might be making you look low status without you even realizing it. I used to struggle with quite a lot of those, but I managed to recognize and change just a few key behaviors. And this transformed how others perceive me and, more importantly, how I see myself. Also, I prepared a free self-assessment questionnaire in the description below for each of those 7 behaviors so you can determine which ones you have to work on and which ones you don't have to. Now let's start with the first low status behavior. Over-apologizing. Apologizing is important when you're truly in the wrong, but how often do you find yourself saying sorry for the things that really don't require an apology? It's a common habit, but it can subtly undermine how others perceive your confidence. Think about the meeting or a social gathering when you had a different opinion about something and you started with something like, "Sorry, but I think." Starting with an apology in such a situation can make your opinion seem less valid, as if you already undermined your own perspective before you even shared it. So what's the alternative? Next time you're about to apologize in situations where it's not warranted, pause for a moment. Instead of saying, "Sorry, but I disagree," try, "I see it differently. Here's my perspective." This shift in language conveys respect for the conversation while maintaining your own authority. Remember, it's totally fine to apologize when you step on someone's toes, literally or figuratively. But let's save our apologies for the moments that truly require them. Now let's move on to another common behavior: reacting poorly to criticism. It's something we've all faced, and let's be honest, it can stink. But the way we respond to criticism is crucial. Are you the man who can take constructive feedback and grow, or do you shrink back and get defensive? I received some tough feedback on a project once, and my first instinct to defend myself and explain why I did it and what I did. But then I took a step back and I realized that this feedback was actually a golden opportunity for growth. High-status individuals often view criticism differently. They see it as a valuable information, not as a personal attack. It's an approach that helps you on your personal development journey and also enhances how others view you, as someone open to learn and evolving. So how can you start reacting to criticism more positively? First, when you receive feedback, take a moment to process it. Don't react immediately, then try to find a grain of truth in that criticism, even if it's delivered poorly. And finally, express gratitude for the feedback. It shows maturity and confidence. And remember, not all criticism is valid. If someone criticizes your style because they don't like your awesome sneaker collection, it's perfectly okay to agree to disagree with a smile. Let's move on to something a bit more subtle but equally impactful: the power of eye contact. A fundamental yet often overlooked aspect of communication and perception. Lack of eye contact can be perceived as a lack of confidence or even interest, which can significantly impact your status in both personal and professional interactions. For me, maintaining eye contact always felt intimidating. I had to consciously work on it, realizing that looking someone in the eyes is not about staring them down, but about showing respect and assurance. So here's a challenge for you. In your next conversation, be mindful of your eye contact. Try to maintain it for about 60 to 70% of the time. It's not a staring contest, but you are showing that you're actively engaged and present. Appropriate eye contact demonstrates that you are comfortable in your skin and in the interaction, which is the key trait of high-status individual. A little tip: if direct eye contact feels too intense, try looking at the space between the person's eyes. They won't be able to tell the difference and you'll still appear engaged. Just don't get stuck staring at their forehead, or they might think they have something stuck there. Now it's time to address another behavior that can make a world of difference in how we're perceived: unnecessary bragging. Now this is a tricky one. We all want to be recognized for our achievements, but there's a fine line between sharing your success and overdoing it to the point where it comes off as bragging. The key is knowing how to share your achievements without making others feel less. Imagine you are at a social gathering. Someone mentions a recent success and you immediately jump in with a bigger, better story of your own. Sure, you might impress a few people, but to most, it seemed like you're trying too hard to prove your worth. In my early days, I thought that constantly showcasing my achievements would make me more respected. But I learned that it often did the opposite. People appreciate humility and the ability to celebrate others' success as well as your own. So think about how you share your achievements. Are you adding to the conversation, or are you redirecting the spotlight to yourself? High-value individuals let their actions speak for themselves and share their success in a way that includes others or adds value to the conversation. Next time you have an opportunity to share a success, try framing it in a way that contributes to the conversation or offers something valuable to others, like a lesson learned or an invitation to collaborate. And if you ever find yourself starting with a sentence, "That's nothing," Let me tell you about the time I did this and that. Maybe take a step back and consider if it's really adding to this conversation or just adding to your ego. Now let's move on to a behavior that's often viewed as positive but can be a double-edged sword if overdone, being too agreeable. It's natural to want to avoid conflict and get along with everybody. But there's a risk of losing your own voice and respect if you're always the yes man. Agreeableness is great, but not when it comes to the cost of your own opinions and values. Think about the time when you agreed to something you didn't really believe or wanted, just to keep the peace or be liked. It might have felt easier at the moment, but did it really serve you in the long run? Chances are it didn't. Next time you're tempted to automatically agree, take a moment. Ask yourself if it's really in line with your beliefs, and if not, how can you respectfully express your own viewpoint? Remember, it's not about confrontation, but about honest, respectful communication. And no, this doesn't mean you should disagree just for the sake of it. If your friend says pizza is the best food ever, and you agree, that's perfectly fine. It's about picking the battles that matter to your values and beliefs. Now let's turn our attention to another key aspect of interaction, not asking follow-up questions. This is all about engagement and conversation. When you don't show interest in others by asking questions, it comes across as self-centered or disinterested, which certainly doesn't help you building a high-status persona. Picture yourself in a conversation when the other person talks about their recent trip, but all you do is nod and then shift the topic to your own experiences. This lack of engagement can make you seem uninterested in others, affecting how they perceive your social skills and empathy. High-status individuals are often seen as good listeners who show genuine interest in others' experiences and opinions. So what can you do? Next time you're in a conversation, cautiously make an effort to ask at least one or two follow-up questions. It shows that you're not just hearing but actively listening and valuing what other person has to say. And remember, it's not an interrogation. The goal is to show interest, not to make the other person feel like they're under a spotlight. So keep it friendly and genuine. It's now time to address our final point, displaying a closed-off posture. Body language speaks volumes, often louder than words. A closed-off posture signals disinterest and insecurity, which definitely doesn't align with a high-status image. I had to learn this the hard way. In the past, my go-to posture in unfamiliar situations was to fold my arms. I thought it'd make me look more composed, but I soon realized it was sending a message of being unapproachable. Body language experts will tell you that open posture, so standing or sitting with an open and relaxed arms, and good eye contact convey confidence and approachability. It's a nonverbal cue that high-status individuals often use to their advantage. So what can you do? Practice being more aware of your body language. Try keeping your arms at your side instead of crossed, and work on maintaining an upright, relaxed posture. It might feel awkward at first, but with practice it will become more natural. Just don't go overboard and start striking power poses in every conversation. Remember, the goal is to look confident and approachable, and not like you're auditioning to the next Superman movie. With this, we are wrapping up this video. Don't forget to download the free self-assessment questionnaire to determine which ones you have to work on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.